We all saw that. We all saw the link. We all saw the leak. The leak. The news. The letters. We saw our fave Ganji batter the beautiful South Asian boy who was taken from his home without anyone's consent, by force, treated like a tool, mistreated, abused, all sorts of stuff. We saw that letter leak of him being put in a racist trope by netties. And I know what y'all are thinking. I don't know what y'all are thinking. Well, actually, I do know what some of y'all are thinking. Y'all are thinking, oh yay, Ganji isn't canon, which is weird because why is that y'all's mindset? Meanwhile, netties made yet another racist trope in their game. They added racism into said game, which really, real talk, wasn't even needed. I get it. It's based off of stuff from the 80s. But like, to add realism, you could have just mentioned racism in the back, not add racism into the stuff for shock value, especially if it's ruining a bunch of characters' lore and assassinating their whole character as a whole. Specifically, and because there's no way y'all made her out to be racist, and then in other letters she's literally out here trying to like stay safe and befriend a couple people. And I get it. If Ganji scared her because of his tone, I would have got that. But to make him out to be this aggressive brown character in the game, it's just, yeah. Racist trope. Making him out to be the angry character. Angry stereotyped person of color. Netties. I don't know what y'all's deal, like, the writing is terrible. Let me tell y'all something. Ganji's character is literally about him wanting to sacrifice himself for his teammates. That's literally how his character is. They literally wrote his character like that. He has a literal sheep stuffed animal, and it correlates to his past and how gentle he is with people who are nice to him. He was literally nice and gentle to that little white boy who was in the manor that he was stuck in. He saved that little boy's life because he was the only one nice to him. Meanwhile, he burnt the whole place because of his parents. And people kept making up this weird, people kept watering him down to, oh yeah, this brown character just hates white people, which isn't true. He hates white people who abuse their power and abuse their privilege and are being outwardly cruel to him. Yeah, he hates racism. No, I don't know what to tell you. He's not prejudiced. I don't know what y'all's deal with trying to make him prejudiced and make him only hate white people just so he can hate Anne and he can be with William. He can still like them and still be shipped with William. That's why and this whole thing shouldn't even be about shipping, but I've seen so many people saying, oh yeah, Will Ganji is canon. Oh, Anne X Ganji isn't canon. I'm so happy. And it's just like, am I tripping? Are we hearing the right thing? And every time I look back at that, I really just can't help but sit there and be like, did we communicate on the same thing? IDV fandom? And this is mainly in TikTok. Once again, TikTok, IDV back at it again, is not looking at the big picture here. Netties wrote another racist story involving a brown character. The last time there was The last time people thought that there was something racist going on, it was with freaking Servais, William, and the others, because people thought that he was talking about William. Meanwhile, he was really talking about Murrow, and y'all assumed he was racist. And y'all just started talking about how there was racism in there, and he was being racist, and he was just all this other stuff. Meanwhile, there's literally racism going on in the other games, and there was poor writing on NetEase's end, and I just need to understand this. Why is it that you guys pick and choose when to call something racist, when in reality it's not? It's like, it just depends on the situation. For example, on Patricia's situation, people were talking about how they were calling her all this other stuff, when in reality they were trying to sacrifice her because she looked into spirit, and the game was literally about looking at the past and speaking to the dead. And then when the time came, the only time they were ever racist was because of what she had on her, what she had correlated to her culture. That was racist. They thought if she drank the poison, then it would be fine. They wanted to sacrifice her for that reason, because of her culture and her background. That was really it. And even Kevin pointed that out. He points it out. And what does NetEase do? They proceed to write about her being angry, cocky, all this other stuff. When in actuality, in Kevin's perspective, he was defending her, and she in return blessed him. So I'm confused now, NetEase. Did y'all want her to be thankful, or did y'all want her to be this mean, angry black lady who just acts cold towards everybody? There's so much, and the irony to all this is that they literally had Kevin and Patricia in an event together where she was this work lady who cared about her home and was just like, I'll help you, just don't thank me yet until you're safe. She was concerned for Kevin's safety. And the only time she was ever mean to him was when she saw him being lazy in one of the endings where he just slept the whole time, and she was just like, he was a decent guy, but he just was that's all he was. And I noticed this. NetEase will pick snippets of each character's lore and then somehow forget about their lore when they're writing said lore, which is weird in my point of view, because it's just what are y'all doing? It's confusing. It's very terrible writing, poor writing on their end, and I feel that it needs to be talked about. I feel like people need to make a criticism on it, on whatever website they listen to people on, and make a few changes, which NetEase has done before. They've made changes on skins, they've made changes on portraits. I feel like it's about time they start making changes in other aspects as well. I'm kind of done with folks trying to give excuses. Oh well, it's this type of company. There are literal other gaming companies that represent black people properly. It's about time we stop making excuses for NetEase. They know better at this point. And plus Ganji's South Asian, so not only is he Asian along with Naib, so is Antiquarian, Wu Chang. Yeah, y'all see what I mean? And freaking Michiko. They're making these Asian characters, but then just mistreating them. They're not treating them properly. I could, if I you wanna know, y'all, let's make a bet real quick. I bet y'all $20 that when they start working on Antiquarian's lore, They will do their lore perfectly. They will do her lore so perfectly, including Wu Chang's. You see how they do in Wu Chang's lore? His lore, still the same, has not changed. Nothing, no bad writing going on there. Meanwhile, with all these other characters who are also like people of color, they're giving them a hard time. Is my baby out there? Hold on, y'all. I got a puppy and he's probably at my door. But as I was saying, as I was like ranting the whole time, I just need everybody to understand that there's a difference between adding stuff for shock value and then just outright being racist. They did both with that whole thing with Ganji's letter. Shock value and just outright racist trope. It's disgusting. And they need to work on that. There's no way that they sat there, looked at his lore, and was just like, my thing is that I feel like none of the devs look back at their stuff. It's the same with Gravekeeper stuff. They give him accessories that don't correlate to his lore at all. A volcano, y'all? Really? What does a volcano got to do with his parent? Unless they're correlating it back to a volcano that went off during a time where everybody just died, then okay, I get that. But like, he in his lore, he mentions wanting to like let his mom get buried in a nice place with these flowers. They could have given him an accessory with that, or even better, they could have done it like with Ganji's. They literally gave him a flute as an accessory, correlated to his homeland. See what I mean? They add snippets of characters' lores, and then just forget when it's time to do the lore itself. It's the same with it's actually the same with Patricia's. She's deemed like, okay. So my thing is that I would have gotten it if they made her a serious lady. I would be like, okay, she's serious about wanting to get her work done. She's obviously spiritual and all that stuff. And she's kind of like Ganji. She doesn't take crap from people. She doesn't like it when people try to discriminate against her. And she'll be nice to you in return. Instead, they just made her this angry black lady who got angry at Kevin for defending her. Are we sure about that? Cause she blessed him later on. So why are we lying? See what I mean? None of it makes sense. And after I finish ranting, I'm gonna give somebody a shout out, but we gotta do something about this. We can email them, all this stuff, and I just want y'all to know that Anne as a character, she's literally my thing is that not only is she a woman in the game, the only woman in the game, and this is the same with Miss Keegan as well. That's the crazy part. Not only is she the only woman in the game, she has every right to be weary and all that stuff, and also take into account that she had a miscarriage. She was scammed by her father and her ex-husband, betrayed by them, and she got invited to a manor who lied to her and said, you can get revenge, but you gotta play this game and not talk to anybody. So everybody's scared and on edge. And she ends up meeting this guy who's trying to warn her about Aesop, and obviously she ends up getting along with Victor. And that's another thing. Victor is an accessory. He's just there. He's literally just there. His whole character was cool when he decided to like analyze each and every person, because he describes each of them and we all recognize him. But then after that, it's just And actually, some of his character makes sense because he does care about letters more than people. But then, like, when you see it, when you look at Ganji's letter, it's just like Victor's just there. Aesop is out here talking about how he wants to befriend Victor and, you know, embalm him and all that stuff. Make him like rest in peace and all that jazz. And while that's all going on, he's plotting to like kill Ganji and Anne because number one, Ganji got in his way and he's upset, so he kills him off. And that was my thing. When he killed him off, it was just it was just bad writing. Another bad writing thing going on. And the only reason why this happened was because they ended up getting drugged. And Anne's like, they even stated that Anne being scared made Ganji go off and be scared too. Like, he was trying to protect everybody around him. And it didn't work out. So Aesop takes advantage of that. Why is it then it later on says that Anne helped Aesop? What? So were they drugged or not? It literally mentions that in the letter. And then we see a fire go off. Victor goes in the said fire over a letter, which was part of his lore. And we're not getting a letter from him until like late. I think does he have a third letter? Oh wait, no, he has a fourth. I don't know much about his fourth letter or his third quite yet, but I do know that he did go into a fire. That was the third letter, my bad, y'all. But like, yeah. So, yeah. I'm gonna end this off with a simple shout out after this. I'd like to give a shout out to Senpai Breeze and Margie.Sunflower. Those two, you guys should totally watch both of them. You should definitely watch Margie.Sunflower because they make beautiful thumbnails and their videos are super aesthetic. And they're like 6 minutes, 13 minutes long, 12 minutes, and it just shows different varieties of characters. I feel like they're an anime and a dancer main, obviously. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy watching those two. I'm about to leave and I will sleep on that to think, and I will have another speed paint up and ready. I'm having an art block right now. I've just been sketching and deleting and sketching all over again. I will see y'all Whittles later. Good night. I need to think about that whole letter leak because it was crazy.